We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1,300,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about altcoin season as Ethereum is significantly trying to break out and introduce the parabolic phase of the altcoin season, and this could be the time where the multiples are being made in a very short period of time. So let's not lose any time and instead talk about it. We are going to look at Ethereum itself, Ethereum dominance. We're going to look at Bitcoin, obviously, as it's very important. We have some news in the backlog as well, but we're also looking at altcoins. We're going to look at Sui, MCADE, VeVe, Ecomi, and so on, and look how they are doing. So make sure to stay all the way through. So, good morning to each and every one of you. And before we start with all of the altcoins, and I see there's already some action in the chat, may I ask you to kindly smash up the like button here to this live stream, very important to keep me going here. And we are looking at Bitcoin here on a 4-hour chart, and I've redrawn this because clearly the previous one didn't look so good. We completely faked out here. So I thought, how can you redraw this to get a better picture, right? With the wicks like this. It looks more like a breakout here now from somewhat is a bull flag, right? If you put this on, and Bitcoin is always important, right? To see if the bull run is continuing or not. And now TradingView is not letting me reload here. Let's try this again. Okay, that was clearly not the intention. Let me get back to the Bitcoin chart. That is not the Bitcoin chart, but that is also interesting. That is not the one that we're looking for. This is the one that we're looking for. Back to the 4 hours. There we go. So yeah, this is how it could look as for a breakout. On the daily, I think it becomes even clearer that it's something like this, right? Without the wicks, I think it's very tidy with if you go into the higher time frames. I always like the higher time frames because now you have a range where you did not break out, right? Where you basically are ranging along in a tidy bull flag, and this is only going from the 4-hour chart to the daily chart, right? So we are going to always spend in the higher time frames, but I just wanted to show you how the guessing game looks if you are going into the higher time frames, right? So I think this looks pretty good, pretty solid. And for Ethereum, you will see it as well in a second. But first of all, let's say Bitcoin is coming up in this range. And if you were even, I think it's even more tidy like this, and maybe even more like this. There we go. We are coming up, bouncing here, coming up with this range. And I think at 120, it's go time again, right? That for sure. Now, we are here to talk about the possibility of the altcoin season start. And I want to emphasize that this is also not a thing that happens within hours, but rather in, not even in days, but maybe in weeks. And maybe in the next couple of days as we are heading to a monthly close. But look at this, right? This is the total two, so everything except Bitcoin and stables. And we have this drawn in since quite some time, right? But important is we are only approaching breakout time. So if there's anything going on with altcoins, it's with Ethereum itself, but not yet with the altcoins as we are approaching to close this cup and handle. We, on the collective and total market, we still have 4.75% left, right? So that is something where I say, let's be patient here, but there are other indicators that show that the parabolic move on this is starting, right? Also here you see, okay, we took the candle body closes, and you could even go a little bit higher in the time frame to get a better picture on the monthly chart, right? And you see clearly that we did not break out on the monthly here. But then also a neckline doesn't become that clear, right? Because you have these wicks here, you have the candle body closes here. So you would rather on a monthly go for something like this, and that's nothing really, right? So in my opinion, the weekly here gives the clearest picture, and I'm going to continue to look at that, but I'm not spending any time on the 4 hourlies or so for that, right? For given reasons. So now the biggest question mark is coming in here, and that is Ethereum, right? And it's a question, how are we going to draw Ethereum, right? I have removed the price target here. It's still there technically, right? You break out here, you go to 7,000 or something like that, right? Depending on how you draw it. There are two options, and I just want to give them to you. Either you take all the wick highs, and then you are coming out here, right? And then you are at resistance. Or you're saying you're taking the candle bodies, and then you have here a fake out, and then you have a breakout here, right? With a retest. And I show you why, right? This is the weekly. And if you draw it like this, you have this fake out-ish stuff, but here you have basically a retest, right? On top of this line. So technically on this one, on the daily, if you were to look at this, you would break out, but it's not the highest and cleanest, right? But everyone wants to and uses that, right? You see, but it's actually, right? You should be drawing it like this, and then here you should be going like this, at least, and then you have wicks left over. So it's really shitty, you know. Here you would be like, oh, these candle bodies and so on. You go all the wicks, you're just at, hey, let's break out here, right? Just saying. That is how you could draw it. Going to the monthly, again, it shows you the options, right? Nonetheless, I would say once, and here, for example, here on a monthly, I would be more inclined to say, let's take the candle bodies like this, and we're good, right? And in that scenario, you are looking at a breakout of Ethereum right now, going into this monthly close in only 3 days. So this could be more decisive, so that there's no question marks about the time frame anymore. And then you're going to 7,000-ish Ethereum, right? Breakout from the measured move in the non-logarithmic. This is the logarithmic, right? Now, what supports this mega move? We are not overbought in any case, and we are looking really nice with a bull cross on the stochastic RSI that we have marked months ago already. And decisive bounce here from this bottom, 125% upside. We are closing in on 4,000 Ethereum. And if we were, I would say, if we were to break the 4,000 here, I think it's on, right? It doesn't matter then how you draw it, because look, even if I take all the upper wicks, we are somewhere in it and above it. But this is what I would wait for, right? No matter how if you draw it like this or this, the 4,000 mark is decisive to be broken. And now everyone could say, oh yeah, but this is not an exact science to take trades on a 4-hourly basis. It's not, because for that you need a 4-hour chart or something like that. But that's not why I'm here, right? Very clear, right? I'm not here to take this trade. I am here because I'm sitting in altcoins and I want to know when they are flying. And once they are flying, I know that, where's my dominance? Here. Once they are flying and they have started to perform a little bit better already, I know that there is limited time left to take then profits, right? And I would say Ethereum is the one that preliminary is going to break out, and then the alts are ripping up after Bitcoin breaks out and flies, right? All eyes on Bitcoin. We said that before, in contrast to many other voices. We said before that Ethereum is going to fly and that Ethereum is going to lead the altcoin season. Everyone's like, no, Solana is going to lead the altcoin season, blah, 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 blah. It's not the case, right? It's exactly like this. Ethereum goes up and suddenly all altcoins look good. Now, last time, altcoin season went on for, if you were to consider all of this, 140 days. That's quite some time, but it's not much time. It's 3 months or so, right? If you were to say where you can really identify altcoin season, which would be where we are, let's say we have this initial drop, right? Then everything happens in a matter of, let's just say here to there, 60 days, 2 months of absolute pump. And that is if you nail the top, right? So I really want to know when it starts and when I can confirm it based on ETH, because then I know that I can put a counter on 30 and something days to scale out of my alts, right? Something like that in my mind. And that's why I'm doing this, right? Not to determine an exact target, but to know, hey, are we going or are we not going here, right? Which also is important to look at then in this turn is ETH BTC. Here also on the monthly, clear, concise, higher lows and higher highs. On the weekly, even better visible. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin at the moment. So only since April, it's better to be in Ethereum than to be in Bitcoin right now. And that is something Penguin has asked here in the beginning. If you had $1,000 to invest right now, would you put it into Ethereum or more XRP Sol ADA and other large caps, or go for small cap options like DeVe, MCADE and Omi? That is a very hard question, because I technically would opt for one of these altcoins that are still very small, like MCADE, for example. I mean, if you're looking at MCADE, you are looking at a Place 600, $38 million market cap coin that has shown strength within the altcoin space. That doesn't mean that it has to necessarily go, but I would put a bet on that one to do a, I don't know, 50x from here or whatever, right? It can happen. It doesn't have to happen, right? But the bottom line is, you could also bet on Ethereum, and then if you are capable of taking good trades within shorter time frames, you could be in Ethereum, ride the Ethereum break, take profit, roll it into the next coins, which is what happens and how this altcoin season rolls from one into another coin. But the fact is that Ethereum is going up, the rest of the altcoins are currently bleeding into Ethereum, right? And so before, everything, including Ethereum, bled into Bitcoin, right? And that is where at some point Solana and all these others will stop bleeding towards Ethereum in terms of dominance. USD or USDT wise, they can go up, right? That's not a problem. That is what is reflected, I guess, in these charts, right? The USDT wise, the market cap, as they are going up, you will see it. Ethereum is approaching all-time highs, and this chart is led by Ethereum, as Ethereum is naturally the biggest, as well as Bitcoin dominance somehow is led by Ethereum, because Ethereum is the largest altcoin, and if the largest altcoin is pumping and outperforming Bitcoin, that alone leads to the Bitcoin dominance to drop off. Ethereum alone capable of doing well brings Bitcoin dominance down. You don't need any more altcoins for that, right? But anyways, let's check out the chat a little bit and honor some rare hodlers here. We have Pukal Jotric here. Morning PH, morning hodlers, happy Monday. Finally catching up with you guys live. Thank you very much for that. As well as we have Sebas here. Devi is about to moon, my friends. We are going to look at Devi some altcoins in a second. Sebas says alt season has started. Bitcoin dominance continued down. A pullback in September and blow off top October, November. Alts might pump until Jan, Feb. We will see, because we are almost approaching August, and there are a couple of things that are coming, right? Markets are looking really good on this trade deals and so on that are being made. We are going to address in a second, right? But we are looking at job openings tomorrow. We are looking at Fed press conference in 2 days in the European evening on the 30th. So we have at 8 the Fed interest rate decision, and then the Fed press conference. You will see it here, right? If you open your TradingView chart, you have these little nice icons here for upcoming important economic decisions. So we have these conferences here, right? Good morning to you, Sven, as well. And then we have the GDP growth rate quarter over quarter. So this is coming out. I would say volatility might be high around these dates, as we do have first the GDP, then the Fed decision, and then the press conference, right? And the question is, there is some likelihood we could actually look at the Fed, the CME watch tool here quickly. Let me put this up here. Sorry. CME group watch. There we go. 2 days, 11 hours, right? So this is the cmegroup.com. There you can look at it. And it basically says or predicts what we are expecting for rates. And the market is expecting only a 2.6% chance of a rate cut. The current rate is 425 to 450, which is where 97% of the market says we're very likely coming out. So again, no rate cut from Powell, very likely in 2 days is expected. And that's going to be interesting how the market reacts to that. Whereas, for example, for September, the market factors in 60% chance of 25 basis point cut, which is going to be interesting how the market reacts to that as well. So I think maybe for easing conditions, and starting this bull run, we might have to wait another month, right? So make sure to factor that in, which tells me maybe we are not breaking out on ETH USDT, or maybe we are, right? But we will see. In a way that we can be, certain here, right? So that is not 100% clear. But doesn't matter. Once we see it, right? So interestingly, we do have the SPX, the S&P 500, going to all-time, building new all-time highs, which is good, right? Because somewhere with all these Wall Street people in, basically crypto is very likely following this and going up, right? So all the signs on for crypto are good. We have the DXY continuing to fall. Right now, this is a clear downtrend. We do have some bumps and bounces in here, but overall, right now, the DXY is rather falling, which is good for alts. On the Ethereum topic, this is also like, hey, we did see it out of Bitcoin. Now it's Ethereum's time. The comparison is compelling, I would say, for a breakout, which we right now are technically getting on this, right? This is drawn in like I did it with this wick ignored, but I did show you the other option, right? So decide for yourself. However, this, if it was to go like this, as we have it right now, this is a fractal, right? This is a fractal out of Bitcoin from a while back. This is the breakout from the previous cycle to the last cycle, right? So 2 cycles ago to the last cycle here on Bitcoin, and compared to Ethereum setup right now. So it's only a fractal, but it's compelling. Another one that is compelling is this, right? ETH BTC, and this is what I said, ETH BTC is mimicking exactly, or is the reason why Bitcoin dominance is dropping off. It's the exact same move, right? All the other altcoins not really participating in that just yet. There is a lot of potential here. I'd say Ethereum is going to do extremely well, better than many expect during this phase across the next months. I also would expect what Seba says, that we do have, I would rather say, if the Fed rate comes in as it's shown in the percentages, I'd rather say we don't pump just yet, and then we pump once the easing comes in September. Unless, and this is something we need to consider, the easing, for which reason is quantitative easing happening, right? Is it because the economy suffers a black swan or a shock, right? Or something breaks horribly, or unemployment spirals out of control? I don't know. Or is this happening just because it's now long enough and the inflation looks good, blah blah, right? That's to be seen, right? Otherwise, you will have a nasty pullback in crypto. Long story short, let's look at some news here, right? So this is going to influence, and that is China and the US have agreed to extend their pause on tariffs for another 90 days. This is extremely good, in my opinion. Very well to see that they are working towards a tariff deal or so, right? But 90 more days, no tariffs, puts us now to the end of October to talk about this again, okay? Or even the 1st of November, who knows, right? But this already a very good thing. And then also, by the way, I didn't pull this up here, but it seems that also there has been a trade deal reached with the EU. Maybe we can see if CNBC has this on the story. European stocks set to rise after US and EU strike trade agreement. So 15% tariff is the agreement. Here we have it, right? President Donald Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced the US has reached a trade deal with the European Union. Trump said that the deal imposes a 15% tariff on most European goods to the US, including cars. That means that right now cars are back down from 25% to 15%, which technically made the situation here better, as obviously Germany, for example, one of the car exporting companies. The US president had previously threatened 30%. The EU also agreed to purchase 750 billion worth of US energy and invest an additional 600 billion worth of investments in the US above current levels. So that's not too shabby, right, for the US. 600 billion investments secured, 15% tariffs agreed. It seems that that this tariff strategy, at least for now, is working out for Trump, and he only needs now that Powell starts lowering rates, right? That is the only thing that he needs. We will see. Some products, including aircrafts and their components, some chemicals and pharmaceuticals, will not be subject to tariffs. So they are saying. This is also interesting, but we are not here to discuss all the U.S. economy here for that. But I think it's interesting to see that. So very good news on the horizon. Then we see out of the last 7 FOMC meetings, Bitcoin pumped 5 times, regardless of the outcome. Average return during those pumps 17%. If history repeats, Bitcoin could reach 140,000 soon. Now, why is this happening? Because regardless of, we know already more or less that there will be a pause, but every FOMC meeting kind of poses some uncertainty. Not because of the outcome, which is very predictable, but rather because of what Powell is going to say, and especially now with Trump threatening to fire Powell. There are some funny videos out also where he's putting Powell on the spot. I don't have them here today, but you can search for yourself. It's hilarious. So that could be happening in 2 days then. Right, we will see if Bitcoin pumps again on the next FOMC meeting in 2 days. Now, let's see this here also quickly. We do have the White House, or CNBC talking about the White House. The White House confirming that the crypto report will include an update on the strategic national stockpile. Probably coming out this week. Let's listen to this quickly.
Crypto policy report on Wednesday. According to the administration's crypto task force, that report will be a set of recommendations around potential regulation ahead, including the feasibility of a strategic national stockpile of crypto. Crypto policy report on Wednesday. According to the administration's crypto task force, that report will be a set of recommendations around potential regulation ahead, including the feasibility of a strategic national stockpile of crypto.
I know that this was very quiet. I don't know why people are always like, I think they're sitting with a camera in front of their TV and have it on like 20 volume or something like that. I hope you could hear it, but basically that's, they are saying on CNBC, confirming that this is coming this week. So this could be good, right? Also, we have Michael Saylor very likely going to buy more Bitcoin today, as he is posting again that he's going to put more dots by buying the top forever, blah blah. So Michael Saylor probably going on this. Let's see if this video is a little bit louder. Let's see. Yeah, if it loads. Man, I hate this so much. 1 second, it does not load at all. This sucks. Let's see if it's still there. Looking at the altcoins in a second, right? But why does this video not load? If it doesn't load, it doesn't matter. It's a typical Michael Saylor, but yeah, it doesn't load. Let's forget it. What's interesting though is this one, right? And this is going for everyone now of you that are not in Bitcoin, right? Buying 1 Bitcoin at the top of every cycle, right, would have turned $90,000 into $470,000, right? Even if you were to buy Bitcoin always at the worst point ever, you would be up tremendously, even against traditional investments. You are on number 2, Mr. Bot. I don't know if you're a bot, but you're spamming. Okay. We're going to look at this in a second. So that means you should consider stacking Satoshis if you do not have any, right? Because we don't know where it's going. And maybe right now is not the best time, but maybe it is, who knows, right? We don't know how high Bitcoin will go in the next couple of months. Matter of fact is that this chart implies November 28th, in every cycle, Bitcoin tops, according to this, right? Or is that's somewhere there and there about November topping signal, right? November, 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 November. Sorry for the spam, not a bot. Okay. Sebas, I think, is number one. I don't know if this I see what you're trying, but I think it also calculates how many characters you used or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, stacking sats. Why? Because only 0.27% of the global population can own one Bitcoin each, right? And maybe for many of us, owning one Bitcoin is already out of possibility, but owning 0.1 is not. And the calculation is still compelling. Someone here asked this, and I'm pulling it up. At Grok, what percentage of global population can own 0.1 Bitcoin? And each, right? And Grok says approximately 2.55% of the global population can own 0.1 Bitcoin each, based on Bitcoin's total supply limit of 21 million and current world population of 8.24 billion. Now, that is very compelling, and that is still feasible, right? Even with today's prices, 0.1 Bitcoin would be 11,958.8 US dollars. That is possible and feasible with a nice DCA plan. Even if Bitcoin goes higher right now, it's possible to get into the top 2.5% of Bitcoin, right? Now, 2.55% considering a stable world population and considering that 21 million Bitcoin is available. So you would rather likely be in the top 2% because, first of all, world population is growing fast. And secondly, and more importantly, millions of Bitcoin are lost, which means that the actual Bitcoin to be distributed here is way lower. So if you're sitting on top of one Bitcoin, you are actually higher than 0.27%. If you have 0.1% or above, you are very likely forever in the top 2% of this world, also considering that there are many companies, ETFs, and wealthy people sitting on thousands of Bitcoin, right? We cannot forget that. So I think 0.1 Bitcoin should be, without financial advice, a target for everyone. Thank me later, right? So this is very important. Can you see when altcoin and meme coin top 2 each cycle? Please, BTC November 28th top. Every cycle is right on point. I think we can see it if we pull up the monthly chart on Bitcoin. We get rid of the lines. If not, we pull up another chart, but let's try this. And then we are going to put total 2 as overlay. Yeah. And then we see that the peak in collective altcoins was actually exactly also here at November in total 2. Now, if you take individual altcoins, it might have been differently. So if we take and this is also something we see, right? We're following Bitcoin quite tremendously right now here on this total 2 chart, right? let's take total 3 maybe as a comparison and then see if it's different, but it's not, right? We do still have the top on November 1st collectively, right? And this is why I'm saying maybe we find an individual altcoin. Let's look at VeChain maybe. Yeah, VeChain topped earlier. You see, VeChain had its blow off top on the first top, but collectively they did come in November, right? But now for this coin, for example, we don't see it really here, right? We don't see it yet. It's interesting to do these comparisons, right? Let's take, what else? Solana maybe individually. So let's put Sol USDT on Binance. Yeah, here we go. Solana did top on the latter top. That was when FTX blew up the volume on such coins. It's interesting also, right? Because it might have to do also with VeChain moving strongly on the Ethereum side, right? Maybe who knows, right? But this was where the Solana price got manipulated in, right? So this is why so many people look at this part. Let's look at Chainlink maybe as a comparison, or XRP. Link USDT. Oops, there we go. Where I need Link USDT. Let's see if it has. Yeah, it doesn't have the chart. Fuck. Let me check if I can get another one here that is better. Yeah, there we go. So Link also is funny, right? Link also had the blow off top in April 21 and a lower high only on that October, November, right? Could that mean alt had already topped in March 2024 and double top in November? I'd rather say that we are going to have a top for Bitcoin. This is something where I need a minute to discuss this, right? Because you raise an important and very good question. In my opinion, this high was the real top, right? And this wasn't. But you've seen in cycle comparison before that usually every time we top here. Why was this not the real top, even though it was higher? Because if you calculate the very high inflation out of this, this would have been the higher high, and this would have been a lower high here, right? Some altcoins though, and this was price manipulation to its finest due to FTX, right? So what I would rather say is, if we were to mimic this cycle in anything here, then we're getting this high now, and then we're getting another high in the next year, right? That could be happening. It's hard to say, because if you look, every cycle is different, right? This cycle here, 2017, had a blow off top and fell directly into the bear market, with one exception, with some candles here on the monthly, right? But the price comparison shows that we did not actually have that much of a run, right? So let's put in the total 2 again. We are already higher on the total 2 than we were in early 2025, right? We are already higher. So definitely we are moving way differently for altcoins than we did here, right? We are not moving as steep. So we are already higher on this, and considering the total 2 setup, we are closing in on a cup and handle, and we did not break the all-time high yet from the previous cycle on total 2. Even though it looks like this on this chart, but this is because we are on a log scale, I believe. Let me check this on a non-logarithmic. Oh, can I put this on the non-logarithmic? 1 second. I don't know if it logs, if it takes the non-logarithmic. Yeah. In the non-logarithmic, you see it a little bit better. I mean, the timing is clear, but here we see that we are not. Actually, here it seems like we're breaking all-time high. Why? This is the same chart that I've opened here, and we are not. Maybe because of the monthly. Yeah, okay. Because we are on a monthly scale, and this is not taking wicks. This is this line type is going on candle body closes. And candle body close wise, if we were to close this month, this would be the highest monthly close, as we will see here, in history, right? For altcoins, if we close it like this, here you see it. It would be the highest monthly close. Here I'm on a weekly chart. This is why. In my opinion, as long as Bitcoin goes, we will follow here. And since I believe that Bitcoin is not in the end, due to the indicators like the TSI that I have here, there's still some room. Right now we're looking to finish this run at this pace around September already, according to TSI. I think that we are going higher. If we're going higher, and we should be pumping much, at least 2 months more, I would be looking to taking out the all-time highs of the altcoin space at this wick here, and looking therefore at a cup and handle breakout, but this is unconfirmed, right? So this is what this is where I think this all fits very well together. And I think that Bitcoin can have a very exaggerated, exuberant 2 to 3 months to reach its top, right? I would see the top in September, October, maybe November as it states here, but we also, as it's stated here, where is it? Here, right here we see it, November question mark, right? Maybe but also we see that these November lines are slightly the November 28th is slightly behind here, right? Behind the dot. We have actually already topped and fell into a bear market. And here it's a little bit before, and here it's on point, right? And here we don't know, right? We will see. So it's not that clear cut, but I would say October to November at the latest we are topping for Bitcoin. So we have until then to make massive altcoin returns. If this is the start of the altcoin season and we have 90 days of massive altcoin season in front of us, that would be really golden. That would be really, really, really great, right? Quick word on this, because one of my viewers actually made a really, really good point here, right? So we have the Google search trends. And right now, since Bitcoin is not moving, they're dropping off again a little bit, even though we are basically sitting at all-time highs again. Someone made a really good point, and that is that many people are not Googling anymore. They are using AI, right? They put into ChatGPT, what's the price of Bitcoin? What should I do? Should I buy now? Blah, blah, right? So also AI is going to shape the behavior of many people, how they are going to behave in this altcoin space, which can lead to that indicators like the search trends for here, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and NFT are not going to spike as high. On the other side, I would still argue that many people, especially the boomers, are not using ChatGPT and other AI tools yet to the extent that they are using it all the time. I mean, we already know that younger people are using it more, but also maybe not as much adopted as, I mean, you guys know it better, right? For yourself, do you use it every day? If you don't use it every day, I urge you to use it every day. Otherwise, you're left behind. Especially if you are 30 plus. Especially if you're 30 plus, because that means you are working, and if you are not going to use it, you are going to be replaced, right? There are so many things where AI is going to replace people without them knowing. Look at Fiverr, right? A while back, you wanted to build your own small business, e-commerce web shop. You did pay $100 to a guy on Fiverr to design your logo. Today, you're doing it with AI. You're not going to spend anything on Fiverr. If any, you're paying a pro version of AI. If you are working a paper or something like that for university, you don't pay a ghostwriter. You just have AI draft your TCC, right? If you have to write up anything like more complex, any proposals, anything, you're using AI, right? You don't pay anyone. You're not even hiring that working student anymore because you can just do it with your AI assistant. But I digress. We are not here to do that. Looking at some altcoins, and I have Sui here on the map. Sui, in my opinion, is looking really nice. Here is the chart. It's looking really, really great, right? So if you were to go on this, it has broken out from this, let's say, mid-range overhead resistance, which was already once flipped into support in our latest alt spike, right? Oops, sorry. There you go. So here's our bull market support. We've bounced off of it. We have broken this resistance. So I would say Sui is definitely, or not definitely, but very likely going towards challenging 520 during this phase, right? And then we'll see if it can break out and go to new all-time highs, right? But I'd say there is a good chance for Sui in the next weeks to come to do another 20% here and challenge its new all-time high. And then maybe that's also the time frame where these coins, these larger caps, are breaking out. Next up, VeVe. Someone mentioned already VeVe, that we are going to the moon for VeVe. Let's see. Okay, that is very wildly drawn in. Let me quickly go out of the logarithmic. This was just on a hunch, but we had a better chart. There we go. So also, I would say this is our VeVe bull market support here. And maybe we can draw this in a little bit more concise in the sense. This is the bull market support. I think we have bottomed here, and we are just in the beginning of a move where we are going to also go back and challenge our previous all-time high, which would be a 3x from here, right? And then we'll see, right? Then we'll at the same time form a cup and handle, blah, 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 right? So basically lagging behind what we are seeing at the total 2. So then MCADE, right? Already mentioned it, but here we go. MCADE had a really ferocious pump in the last weeks, which brought it up 204% within the last, I don't know, what's that, like 4 weeks? This is the 5th week. It broke out of this falling channel. But still, I would still argue that we are just in this accumulation, in this trading range. We still do have 120% just to reach this previous high, and then we go on price discovery, right? So I'm inclined to hodl my MCADE back to that point and beyond, because I really want to see how hard this thing can pump and what can happen to my bag, right? So for me, MCADE is one of the golden kids, together with VeVe maybe, together with some other altcoins. Also Sui is really nice for this last phase of the bull run, right, of the bull market. I see a lot of rationale in this bull market, so let's see how much excitement and exaggeration we can get, right? I'm not going to tell you the exact values, but MCADE is now one of my top bags because I've accumulated here in the 006 range, in this bottom range. I've accumulated some, but I'm not going to tell you exact values. But percentage-wise of the portfolio, I would say it's about 5% of my portfolio now, which is brutal. It's a lot because I am hodling I'm like 65 to 70% Bitcoin depending on the price. And I try to have altcoins just as a faster horse, to bet on altcoins. But if it goes wrong, I still have a big fat portfolio in Bitcoin, right? So I'm like, I think it's right now 70% Bitcoin. Yeah. Also because some altcoins have done extremely poorly. To be honest, right? You have to be always honest with your investments. Like, for example, Omi, right? Omi has done extremely poorly, right? It's up a little bit right now here on the daily, but if you were to look at the monthly, I mean, look at this thing. Like, it's just, it's about to maybe bottom here. It looks from the volume and everything, there's still selling coming in, but this thing has cost me dearly, let's put it that way. And I didn't add anything anymore to it because I just wanted to see any turnaround. This volume here looks nice. We might see something like a bottom coming in. I mean, we do see that is the RSI. That's absolutely terrible, but on the other hand also crazy, right? And then volume, stochastic RSI, bull cross. Yeah, let's mark this also. This is very important. You saw it here first. Bull cross. Now we need, so bull cross is one thing, but to be very clear, we have to see these two lines now move up into the blue zone, right? To confirm this trend. And that is something that we want to see, right? MCADE is now 6.2% of my portfolio. Nice. Yeah, it has done us really well. I think MCADE was a good pick for now. Of course, yeah, we will see. I mean, if Omi comes back, I'll be happy. If Omi does a 10x or something, I would be really happy about that. We'll see if the whales are going to make their move. Of course, Omi is going to be the last to move because it's an NFT related one, and NFTs are just still, yeah, you're trying to feel a pulse, let's say. But I think they will come back. XRP is being asked. Let's check XRP USDT. Excuse me there. Oh yeah. XRP, my friends, is breaking out, or has been breaking out very, very nicely out of this bull flag. And it's forming a smaller bull flag, I would say, here. Yeah, I think this is, if I had to guess, this is probably going to be it from the correction and support, and it's going higher. I'd say XRP is, how does it look on the bigger picture? Oh, we are basically forming all-time highs, right? So, yeah, I'd say higher, definitely. Going to $4, maybe $4, but it's looking good for XRP. But it's also gigantic market cap, right? What is XRP's market cap right now? There it is. It's number 3. I mean, look at this. It's $195 billion. So for XRP to increase massive amounts of money, for XRP to do a 50%, 100 billion have to flow into XRP. And that's not impossible, but I'd say that would also mean that in other altcoins it's going into completely nuts, right? This would be the mother of all bull runs, right? Good morning, PH. Hope you had a great weekend. Thank you, I did. Thank you, Bernard Donaldson. Dan, good to see you. I had brought 9,979x of my holdings since the starting of the year. What do you mean by broad? You did like you have 9,000 9,000x or what? Please smash the likes, everyone. This is 46 watching and there's only 19 likes. Yeah, come on, guys. Let's pump up the likes here for this live stream. And a quick look at our favorite NFT project, VeVe. Here in the end, we do have increasing numbers for VeVe. We do have a spike in user numbers in the last, let's say, 10 days, from 506 up to 689, which is really nice to see. And we do have also, we yesterday there was the drop of the red Spider-Man, which apparently many people tried to get. But not many people got. Also, I did not get it. I'm just scanning the market. Yeah, here's one sold 30 minutes ago. I don't know exactly where this floor is, but this one is really nice. Anyone know where the floor price is right now? Please let me know. In general, VeVe is, I guess, gearing up for... Let me see if I can pull up the VeVe stuff here quickly. Is gearing up for bull run. So this was the drop that they had yesterday. Really nice. What is that? Do we get another Powerpuff Girls or what? On that NFT drop. Historic moment. Please share your kind words for the maker. George Lucas takes the San Diego Comic-Con stage for the... So VeVe is right now at San Diego Comic-Con, which is always a good event, right? For them to spread their brand. Yeah, so overall that is really nice. I've not been following all the content yet for the Comic-Con, but it seems that people are having a blast. It's always difficult for Europeans and vice versa, right? Once this is in the US, Europeans have a difficult time to get there, and then right? But we will have another drop here, and this one is really cool. The 2099 Spider-Man is coming in various poses with 2 chase variants, a secret rare and a common special variant, which could be interesting. This is coming out Friday, the 1st of August. So this one is probably going to give them some really nice epic revenue. Red Spidey is at 219. I bid 170,000 master collector points and did not get it. Crazy. I tried to get it without points, just in case, because there's always a couple of them reserved for non-pointers. For me, that was not enough to bet points, but again, we also saw it wasn't worth it, right? But a shitload of MCP points must have been burned for that one, right? And I bet people will regret it. Oh, we see some content here on the SDCC, but many people will regret probably using their MCP for whatever drop, just because it's scarce once the stuff comes out that they really want. It seems that people got some nice rewards for being level 100 and so on there. They do a good job on these after videos, I guess, right? So let's see. What the heck? Yeah, but that's it, guys. Unfortunately I have to jump, so smash up the like button here really for the stream, very important. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for the next one. And wherever you are on the world, have yourselves great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. I catch you in the next video or live stream. Have a good one, everyone, and bye.